Breaking news in our Sunrise Smart Start, the Rochester Regional Transit Service is keeping a mask mandate on public transportation.
Masks were optional on public transport yesterday in Rochester. That is now reversed. RTS says after consulting with the governor's office, all customers and employees must wear masks in all RTS spaces and facilities. New this morning, 2 people stabbed last night in Rochester.
This happened around 10:40. Police responding to Lime Street and Whitney Street, where they found a 23-year-old who had been stabbed in the lower body. On scene, officers also found a 15-year-old on Lyle Avenue and Whitney who had been stabbed. Both were taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. An investigation is ongoing. And also new this morning, a house on Holly Street struck by gunfire last night.
This happened around 11:30. Police say a house with people inside was hit multiple times by gunfire. There were no injuries reported. And just into our newsroom this morning, another house in the city struck by gunfire overnight as well. This time around 3:45 in the morning on Murray Street. That home there struck multiple times. 3 adults inside were not injured. That investigation is ongoing. A 74-year-old school bus driver has been arrested and charged with sexually abusing a minor.
Tomas Rosario is accused of inappropriately touching a 13-year-old girl on March 10th. The criminal complaint describes the video and audio captured of the entire incident, some on a surveillance camera inside that van. The incident reportedly started on the drive to school after the minor victim was picked up from her home just before 7:30 in the morning. At one point, Rosario allegedly tells the victim to not discuss their conversation with anyone else. The complaint says the inappropriate conversation continued on the trip home from school that afternoon, where Rosario eventually placed his hand on her front waist area. The investigation also found illegal images and videos on his cell phone leading to the child pornography charges. Rosario is set to be back in court for a scheduled preliminary hearing on Thursday.
Monroe County is receiving more than $5.5 million in settlement money stemming from a lawsuit filed by the Attorney General against big drug companies for their role in the opioid crisis. Attorney General Letitia James says the Finger Lakes region will get more than $9 million. Meanwhile, the city of Rochester will get $390,000. The money will go toward treatment, prevention, and education efforts, all in an effort to combat the opioid epidemic.
It means that we can save lives today and tomorrow. It means that there are more resources in our community to teach our young people about the dangers of drugs and opioids, to prevent someone from misusing a painkiller for the first time and saving a life, and to treat people who are struggling each and every day with addiction, and to save people who are dying from an overdose.
And the Attorney General adding this is just the beginning. More money is coming from the $1.5 billion settlement.
A forum was held at City Hall last night to discuss good cause eviction. A local version of good cause eviction was voted down by City Council last month, 6-3, but some state lawmakers are pushing for it statewide. Assemblyman Damon Meek says good cause eviction, if passed, will help provide guaranteed protection for tenants.
This will also push for like a more even playing field as it relates to tenants having a voice. We have a number of legislators that have signed on as co-sponsors to this legislation, and we're going to put pressure on the powers that be and move it on up the ladder.
The next step is to push for this in Albany. Meeks and other lawmakers are heading back on April 25th.
Monroe County families will be getting more child care funding. The funding is included in the new state budget. It will assist an estimated 300,000 children getting access to care across the state, including some 3,500 kids in Monroe County.
We need to understand this. This is economic development. This is a building block for our companies, our ability as a community to succeed in every asset. This is literally the fundamental building block of it all.
Well, according to the Children's Agenda, during the pandemic, millions of people had to leave their jobs to take care of their children after care centers closed down.
Funding has been secured for Rochester Regional Health's College of Health Careers. Congressman Joe Morelli announcing he has secured $1 million for RRH. This funding will go towards educating and training more public health professionals. The state also working on making health care more accessible to veterans.
We're also looking at the big picture as to how to improve the healthcare delivery system for veterans. Vitally important. People make sacrifices to go into the military, defend us. We want to make sure we're equally committed to them when they come back home.
Morelli adds that current legislation called prior authorization needs veterans to get approved before they're offered a particular service. 420 is a day some use to celebrate marijuana. It's been legal in New York for over a year now, and some locals plan on embracing it with events today.
Eriquetta Cost is in studio with more on this morning. Eriquetta, good morning.
Good morning. And still no adult use recreational licenses have been issued yet. But in the meantime, some folks here in Rochester are embracing it fully anyways, as something they've been using and enjoying for years. Today at Main Street Armory, there's a 420 convention open for those 21 and older. The date is significant as it takes on a new meaning since marijuana became legal. Last month, the governor announced the opening of a web-based application portal to help hemp farmers get licensed to grow. It's a move she says will jumpstart the cannabis industry. We spoke to one local farm who just got their license to grow last week.
Out of the 150 applications that were submitted, we were one of the 52 fortunate enough to get this license. So now we're just really off to the races, and it's exciting. We really did our due diligence on the licensing and the application. We had good mentorship, so we were very fortunate to meet the requirements.
And the convention I mentioned earlier at Main Street Armory will run from 5 to 10 p.m. Again, you must be 21 or older to participate. The governor says she'll continue reviewing those applications for cultivator licenses as well on a rolling basis. In the studio, Eriquetta Cost, News 8.
All right, Eriquetta, thank you. And we have all the information you need on tickets over at our website, rochesterfirst.com.
All right, Christine, let's bring in, have a little chat here about the morning forecast. Temperatures, a big part of the story today.
Yes.
We look at where they are right now and you say, well, wait a minute, we've been here before.
Yeah.
It's not where we start.
That is true. I mean, it is a chilly start. The sun that we are seeing this morning, a little bit deceiving. You might want to head out the door without a jacket, but I promise you will definitely want that jacket as we sit in the 30s. 35 in Rochester, Canisius, you're at 31, Penn Yan at 36, and we even do have a few spots sitting with wind chills in the 20s. So your morning run will be a lot more chilly than I think will end the afternoon. The afternoon walk will be a lot nicer, and I promise there won't be any rain or snow pelting you in the face. We'll have some nice sunshine to end the day before we see our next chances for rain. Of course, we'll track where and when that will come one more time with my forecast coming up in just a bit.
Thanks, Christine. Hey, if you're heading out the door right now, you might want to grab a pair of shades as that sun comes up. Bright start to the day, but good story on the roads. No accidents to report on 390, 490, or 590 at this hour. All right, elsewhere, while the federal mask mandate was struck down, local jurisdictions, as we know, still have the freedom to make their own mask rules.
The DOJ says the federal government might appeal the judge's ruling, though. Alexandra Limon reports from D.C.
TSA is not currently enforcing the federal mask mandate after the mandate was struck down by a judge.
Let's just call it what it is: chaos for the skies, chaos in train stations, and in some ways another.
James Hodge, a law professor at Arizona State University, says the sudden change is creating confusion, especially because some airports are in cities where indoor or public transit mask rules are still in place.
A question right now is who's in charge of those facility-related mask requirements.
It's still unclear if the ruling will be appealed.
People continue to wear masks on planes.
That's up to them.
The Biden administration says an appeal depends on whether the CDC finds it necessary. For now, Secretary of Health and Human Services Javier Becerra urges Americans, especially those who are at high risk, to continue masking up while traveling and commuting.
I'll respect the ruling, but I follow the science.
While private businesses can still require masks, most major airlines said they're dropping mask mandates following the court ruling.
Some people should still wear their masks because they are at more risk because, they're immune compromised or something else. But for most of us, we appreciate the freedom.
I was glad that a lot of people had the mask on and they did not take it off.
But once you arrive in a city where mask mandates are still in place, the rules can change, especially once you leave the airport. The rules could, of course, be different if you're traveling internationally, so the best advice is to just carry a mask with you because you just don't know when you might need it. Reporting in Washington, Alexandra Limon.
Alexandra, thank you. And ride-sharing companies Lyft and Uber announcing masks will now be optional while using their service.
All right, let's find out what folks will be talking about at the water cooler this morning. Interesting news here. Netflix seeing its first subscriber loss in more than a decade. Shares dropping 25% on the news. The company's earnings report shows its customer base fell by 200,000 subscribers in the first quarter of the year. This comes amid an increase in subscription price. Netflix is projecting a loss of 2 million subscribers between April and June. You know what that means?
What's that?
More viewers for Channel 8.
More viewers for Channel 8. You might not need the Netflix today, though, Christine, because it's pretty nice. Get outside.
Yes.
Turn off the TV.
Yeah.
Great point.
Take a walk.
Enjoy.
Yeah, get out, see some nature, breathe in the nice air. We definitely have some nice sunshine. If you've been waiting for that, this is going to be your day to get outside. It's a chilly start, though. We're starting things off at 36 with a breeze, so it might be difficult to get out now. Just grab the jacket with you, and you should be good to go. As you head out the door, we've got really no rain or snow to track. Temperatures ending up right around 50, so just overall really pleasant Wednesday for us here. Our next chances for rain we are tracking not until Thursday, and I think after we get through some of those scattered showers then, we will have another nice way to end the week, Friday, with no rain chances there. And of course the warming trend is going to stick with us through the end of the week. All eyes are on the weekend with temperatures rising from the 60s into the 70s, so maybe get the shorts out.
Ooh.
I don't know.
The shorts. Pull them out. All right, Christine, thank you very much. And thank you so much for watching Newsday at Sunrise.
Our next update coming up in 30 minutes. CBS Mornings is up next, the very latest on the war in Ukraine and more from New York. Have a great day.